This clip was uploaded by a hunter named Carson, who regularly documents his time out in the wilderness. On this particular day, he had set up a call, hoping to lure in a turkey, but instead, something else found him. At first, nothing seems out of the ordinary, but if you look closely, just a few feet behind him, there's a bobcat, completely still, locked onto him. And somehow, he has no idea it's there. For several seconds, the animal just watches, waiting for the right moment to strike. The bobcat lunges straight at him, slamming directly into his shoulder. For a split second, it looks like this could turn into a full attack. But just as quickly as it happens, the animal pulls back. It's believed the bobcat may have mistaken him for smaller prey while he was using the call, and when it made contact, the sudden movement likely disoriented it. Somehow, he manages to walk away with only minor injuries. But if that impact had gone even slightly differently, this could have ended a lot worse. Joey and his friend Brandon from the YouTube channel Joey Mac had headed deep into the mountain trails to test out their brand new bikes. At first, everything felt normal. They spent hours riding through open paths, pulling stunts, and exploring different areas throughout the mountains. At one point, Brandon attempted a freestyle motocross trick, but lost control and crashed.
He's down!
Thankfully, the fall wasn't serious, and after taking a moment to recover, they continued riding deeper into the mountains. But as they pushed farther away from civilization, the atmosphere slowly began to change. The trails became quieter, the terrain felt more isolated, and eventually they noticed sewage runoff flowing near the path, something they later realized was connected to a nearby prison facility. From that point on, the entire area started feeling off. Despite the uneasy feeling, they kept exploring until they eventually reached a dense section of forest. Joey decided he didn't want to continue any farther, partly because he was worried about running into a swarm of bees nearby. So while Brandon continued behind him on the trail, Joey started riding back alone. That decision may have accidentally led them into one of the creepiest moments they had ever experienced.
That is a whole nother, oh my god, what the hell is this? What the fuck? Where did she come from? Okay, that is creepy. That is so creepy. Brandon's gonna freak out.
While riding back through the forest, Joey suddenly noticed a teenage girl walking alone near the trail. At first, nothing about it seemed unusual, until Brandon later explained that as he passed her, she appeared to be staring directly at him. Then, without saying a word, she suddenly ran into the forest, not toward the trail, not toward civilization, but deeper into the woods. What makes the situation even more unsettling is how isolated the location was. Joey later mentioned that the nearest town was nearly a 40-minute bike ride away from where they encountered her, surrounded almost entirely by forest and mountain terrain. After leaving the mountains behind, the two later searched online to figure out what they had witnessed. That's when they discovered something disturbing. Earlier that same day, police had posted reports online about a missing teenage girl named Carly Goose from Bishop, California. Joey even realized he had already seen the missing person alert on his phone just hours before the encounter, which raises a terrifying question. If that really was Carly Goose, why was she wandering alone deep in the woods for hours? And more importantly, how did she even get there in the first place? Thankfully, Joey and Brandon made it out of the mountains safely and likely contacted authorities afterward to report what they had seen. Since 2022, Grizzly Gaz has built a channel around solo wild camping trips across the UK, often exploring remote forests completely alone with his dog Fendi. Most of his videos are peaceful, focused on survival, camping, and life outdoors. But during one trip in April 2026, The atmosphere in the woods felt different from the very beginning. At first, everything went as expected. Gaz explored different parts of the forest, searched for a good camping spot, and eventually settled into the woods for the night. But while walking deeper into the area with his camera, something suddenly caught his attention between the trees.
I don't know if it were eye shine. Fuck with that. Oh, it is eye shine, look. Can you see it? What is that? Look at it. Can you see that? There, look. It's orange eye shine. Looks fairly big. Fucking silly thing. Shall we see if we can cut it off? Come on this way, mate.
Two glowing eyes stared back at him from the darkness. Barely visible through the trees, the figure stood completely still, watching him from a distance. For a moment, Gaz tried convincing himself it was probably just an animal wandering through the forest. But later that night, while exploring another section of the woods, he spotted another pair of glowing eyes again.
But there, that's a better shot there, look. Can you see it? It's just staring at me. What is that? I can't tell how tall it is. Oh, it's gone.
This time, the encounter felt much more unsettling. The eyes appeared to follow him through the trees, staying just far enough away to remain hidden in the darkness. Although it was most likely a fox, something common in those woods, the isolation of the forest made the situation feel far more disturbing than it probably was. Eventually, Gaz returned to his campsite and tried settling in for the night. But hours later, strange noises began echoing around his tent.
As long as my perimeter alarms don't go off. I'll be alright. Sensational. No, I'm gonna draft. Are you gonna give us away, man? You big star.
Something could be heard moving around outside his camp in complete darkness. Branches snapped, leaves shifted nearby. At certain moments it sounded as though something was circling the campsite, while he listened from inside the tent with Fendi beside him. Thankfully, when Gaz finally stepped outside to investigate, whatever had been moving through the woods was already gone. Most likely it had simply been a fox wandering through the area, but alone in a silent forest at night, even the smallest sounds can quickly become terrifying. Luckily, nothing bothered him again for the rest of the night, and he eventually managed to get some sleep before leaving the woods safely the next morning. This short but unsettling footage was uploaded by the YouTube channel Bigfoot Society, showing two friends filming inside a forest on Prince Edward Island. At first, the clip appears completely harmless. One of the men stands ahead holding the camera while his friend hides behind nearby bushes, preparing to run into frame as part of the shot they were filming together. But seconds after the scene begins, something unexpected suddenly appears in the background.
All right, go. What the? Dude, holy shit. Did you see that?
As his friend runs forward through the trees, a massive dark figure can briefly be seen moving through the forest behind him. The moment happens incredibly fast, almost too fast to process. Whether it was simply another person hidden in the forest or something far stranger remains completely unknown. But the size of the figure, combined with how unnaturally fast it moved through the trees, is exactly why many viewers believe they may have accidentally captured a possible Bigfoot on camera that day. Thankfully, the encounter never turned aggressive, and the figure vanished back into the forest as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind only that brief and deeply unsettling glimpse. The channel Bad Pioneer is run by a Siberian hunter named Sergey, known for uploading raw footage from remote expeditions deep within the taiga. His videos often feature isolated forests, hunting trips, and long nights alone in the wilderness. But during one particular expedition, the sounds coming from the woods around him became almost impossible to explain. At first, the trip seemed completely normal. Sergey explored through the forest alone, filming the harsh wilderness around him as snow covered the ground beneath his feet. But roughly 14 minutes into the footage, he suddenly began hearing strange noises echoing through the trees. The sounds almost resembled distant voices. At moments they sounded like birds somewhere deep in the forest, but other times the noises felt far too unnatural, echoing through the woods despite nobody else appearing to be nearby. And the deeper he listened, the stranger the sounds became. Eventually, Sergey decided to walk farther into the forest to investigate where the noises were coming from. That decision only made things worse. As he moved deeper between the trees, he began hearing what sounded like someone calling out to him from the wilderness. Then came metallic knocking noises, a distant dog barking, and faint voices echoing through the forest from different directions. By now, the atmosphere around him had completely changed. The deeper Sergey pushed into the woods, the quieter everything else became. No wind, no movement, just snow crunching beneath his boots as he carefully scanned the forest around him. Then suddenly, a scream echoed through the trees.
Тихо. Пошли, пошли, пошли. Ох, блядь, чуть не упал. О, блядь. Тихо, 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 братан. Запыхался нахуй. Тихо. Вот там где-то, блядь. А ну-ка, пошли. Пошли, 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 блядь.
At first, it sounded like some kind of animal, maybe a wolf somewhere deeper in the taiga. But seconds later, another cry followed. Except this one sounded completely different, closer. Sergey immediately stopped walking. Some of the noises sounded almost human, while others were impossible to identify. After continuing farther into the woods, things escalated even more when Sergey suddenly became terrified by something nearby. Moments later, he fired a shot into the forest. The woods immediately went silent. For a while, nothing happened. No screams, no movement, just complete silence surrounding him in the middle of the taiga. But eventually, the noises returned once again. By now, Sergey had no idea whether the sounds were coming from animals, another person hidden in the forest, or something else entirely. But whatever it was, it continued responding from somewhere deep in the woods. Finally, after hearing the noises again, he fired another shot into the darkness. According to Sergey, every time he fired into the woods, the noises would suddenly stop for a few moments before eventually returning again later. To this day, nobody knows what was making those sounds or who, if anyone, was out there with him in the forest that night. Thankfully, Sergey managed to leave the woods unharmed before anything worse happened.